Klay Thompson has always been as gay as they come, you know, but Megan and him made a very cute couple, in my opinion. I'm just saying.
Tell me what's the tea? Tell me as it is. Now, here's the one and only Darius Owens!
Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to be back, and I know a lot of you have a lot to say about the hair, but got some stories to tell you, and you already know. Got a bunch of stories, so grab your, grab your juice or something. Let's get started. It's time for the juice. Come on. Hey, thank you so much for watching today. I'm so excited to be back, and before we get into this, I already know y'all are talking. I already know that some of y'all have opinions about the new hair, but if I'm gonna wear wigs, I'm changing my look whenever I feel like it, right? One episode you might get curls, the next episode you might get straight hair. I'm keeping y'all on your toes. And speaking of wigs, Kenya, back when I was in school and didn't know how to secure them and I had this big, ugly synthetic wig, it was a really big afro that Paris and Jada and Desire and everybody else let me wear. I was walking down the hallway and this girl, Kenya, ran up behind me and snatched the wig off. Here's Kenya, that's her picture. She snatched it off. You remember Kenya, don't you? Well, I would have snatched it off too. But anyways, moving on. So, you remember when Elon Musk became the world's first trillionaire? Well, apparently that only lasted about 12 days. His net worth reportedly dropped after Tesla and SpaceX lost value. Now, I don't feel too bad for him though, because you know, he's still worth around 960 billion. And imagine losing billions and still being richer than everybody else. Like to him, he's like, okay, I just lost $5. But in reality, he's still rich. But then speaking of Teslas, I think they lost value because, you know, we saw like when the people got in those accidents and stuff and, you know, people were like catching on fire in them. And when the battery stops, you can't even open the doors on Teslas. So I'm like, okay, I guess they did lose value. But anyways, Madonna, everybody, you know I am a big Madonna fan. Well, Madonna was spotted looking old, all right? So Madonna was spotted leaving her hotel in Paris and social media immediately started talking about her look. And of course, the internet has opinions. Madonna has never really cared what people think, obviously, because you know she looks like this now. But honestly, I do have to say that she looks better than she did a few months ago because, you know, a few months ago, she was looking a mess, you know, just old and crinkly. But Madonna, where's some new music, Madonna? You're out here doing everything else except making music. And I know you're not retired. Like, I know you're at the age where you can retire. But Madonna, I want some good music. You know, Borderline and, you know, Like a Prayer. All of those songs were the hits. I was about to say back in the day like I'm 80, but they were a hit. Anyway, so you know that whole Whitney Houston Oprah interview situation. Well, anyways, Whitney Houston's old bodyguard just came out, and I guess he's telling his side. Take a look.
You were there the day that Whitney Houston fell off the stage during the sound check at Oprah's show. Take us back to that day. What happened?
I don't know whether it was a sound check or they was actually doing I can't remember exactly when she fell. But she was coming toward the front of the stage, and it's a drop off, and it's sort of like a dark spot there. So when she got to the edge, I think somebody told her, "Watch, be careful, watch it." And then she went down. But so you know, we got to her, but she got up. Matter of fact, she made fun about it. You know.
What did she say when she was making fun about it?
She was just laughing. She said, "I didn't see that." She said, "I didn't even see that." I said, "That's obvious. You didn't see it."
Oprah had suggested that she had relapsed and the fall was due to her being high. Do you think that was the case?
No, I think the case was she didn't really know that stage. And when she walked out there, she stepped off of it, stepped off the end.
Now, he's saying that he believes Oprah should apologize because of how the interview was handled. Well, In my opinion, I don't think Oprah owes anybody an apology. You know, we all knew Whitney was battling drug addiction back then. And while I was watching the bodyguard tell this story, all I could focus on was his nostril. I mean, why, when you video, sir, you don't have the phone down here like this. You have the phone up here. You never have the phone right here unless you want people to look all in your nostrils, and you have some big ass nostrils. Anyways, moving on. So did you see this dead soccer player? So a 21-year-old French soccer player, his name was Kenzo Kais apparently. Now he has died after drowning in a river during a major European heat wave or something. Now he reportedly jumped into the river with friends to cool off before getting caught in strong current. He was rescued and taken to the hospital and later died from his injuries. Now, for one, why would you jump into a river if you can't swim? You know, and I'm looking and I'm like, I can't swim. I can swim, but when the water gets too deep, I can't swim. So I would never jump in a river knowing that I can't swim. So you know what? He basically killed himself. Maybe he was tired of playing soccer and he wanted to die, you know? But rest in peace or whatever. So Glorilla, everybody. Glorilla just gave the classic Reese's Pieces theme song her own remix. Now the new version is being used for cereal's latest campaign or something like that, and some people are loving it, other people are saying leave my childhood alone. Now, Glorilla, not everything has to be turned into a remix. You know, I understand that it's 2026 and it's a new time and everybody wants to DJ and remix every song that they hear, but Glorilla, not everything needs to be turned into a remix. Why didn't you make your own Reese's song instead of turning this one into your own? You know, now you've ruined the original. Anyways, this woman named Renee Nicole Coleman accidentally got paid. Did you see this where she got paid the wrong thing? She got paid $1,650 an hour instead of $1,650. Now basically she walked away with nearly $20,000 after one shift and her job wanted the money back, obviously. She said no thank you. Now she's in court over it. Don't lie. Half of y'all would have been looking up flights before payroll notice. You know, I wouldn't have turned it back in. I would have said, well, I mean, technically, it isn't her fault, you know. They deposited the money into her account. What was she supposed to do? The normal person wouldn't say, oh my gosh, you just deposited $20,000 into my account and it was only supposed to be $120. I wouldn't say that. I would quit the same day and I would have blocked my number on everything. And, you know, I mean, I probably would have got arrested, but hey, I would have had some spending money before I got arrested. So Nero Smith, you know this influencer Nero Smith, right? So she shared that her 2-year-old daughter, Winnie, had been diagnosed with cancer. I'm so glad Paris isn't over here because she would be smiling and laughing when I'm telling this story. I'm so glad she's not here because if she was here, I would be laughing telling this story. And I know that sounds terrible, but you know, when you're with certain people, you laugh about everything. Well, anyway, she's saying that her family is staying hopeful while beginning treatment. Now, take a look at what she said.
There is no easy way to say this or to talk about any of this, but late last year, our daughter Whimsy got diagnosed with cancer. When we saw something suspicious on her, we took her to the ER and they didn't quite know what to make of it. So when we took her into our pediatrician, I just remember him going really quiet and calm, and my heart dropped in that moment. I don't know whether it was my gut telling me something or just a mom's intuition, but the first thing that I felt was she has cancer. He calmly told us to take her to the closest children's hospital and have them evaluate her further. So Lucky got in the car, took her there, and after a lot of x-rays, ultrasounds, and finally a biopsy, they immediately called us and said that she had cancer.
Well, Nero, you know, you can't really, I mean, cancer happens, but for a 2-year-old, this is very sad. But anyways, moving on. So Karamo, everybody, Karamo and Jussie Smollett were spotted, come on, together at Lex. Now the pictures have people wondering if they're dating after they were seen looking pretty cozy. Neither one of them have confirmed anything. Listen, if they're happy, that's all that matters. But social media works harder than the FBI when it comes to a relationship. I mean, you can't even go out to eat in peace without the paparazzi being here. But then I feel like half of these celebrities are calling the paparazzi like, me and my man are gonna be here today. Me and my man are going here on Saturday at 2:30. You know, me and my man are going here. I feel like half of them call, but Karamo and Jussie, not a very appealing couple, but So Cardi B and Tasha K, drama, all right? Cardi B just won another $60,000 from blogger Tasha K. Now, the judge ruled that Tasha violated their settlement agreement, continuing to talk about Cardi, Offset, and Seafun Diggs. At this point, every time Tasha mentions Cardi, it costs her money, you know? Like, I don't understand, Tasha. I mean, you've been sued by Cardi for telling lies on her. You've been sued for making up stuff. When are you gonna learn, Tasha? You know, you keep going on this thing talking about her, and that's why I have to use allegedly in everything I say, because I don't have the money to pay anybody. So Chloe Bailey has just admitted that she knew her man cheated on her, but waited until the next day to confront him. She said that she wanted to cuddle with him one more time. Take a look.
Yeah,
Babe. Hair tie that's not my hair texture.
And in those moments, Chloe, what do? Do you collect it as evidence, put it in the little
depends.
Ziploc, or are we going at it?
It depends on how I'm feeling.
Okay.
And
What did you do when you found the eyelash?
I kept it internal and I took a picture of it and I texted my godmom. And she's like my voice of reason.
Mm-hmm.
Hallie, she'll have me crash out.
Your godmom's like, put it in the evidence file.
Yes.
Get him when he least expects it.
or just walk away.
Do you think that was the same girl?
I have no idea. But I do know I peeped it and I kept it quiet till the next morning.
And then what'd you do?
And then I walked in the bathroom like it was brand new. Like I just saw it. Cause I still wanted my night of cuddles. I'm that toxic.
I don't care how many cuddles I want. I don't care if I wanted to have sex another time. You cheat on me, I'm killing you. And that's just what it is. Well, NBA YoungBoy's mom just posted a photo reminding everybody that she looks good without a filter. And honestly, she does look good. But Sharonda, can somebody please change that lipstick color? You know, that's the only thing distracting me. And you know, Grandma Sharon, I love you, but her lipstick reminds me of my Grandma Sharon's. And when we were out to eat with my Grandma Sharon, she'll be on the show in about a month or so, but we were out to eat. She was putting on this lipstick and I said, look at that lipstick. Look, me and my sister and even Grandma Sharon's daughter started laughing. She had pink lipstick and then she put red on top of it. And I'm gonna talk to her about that when she gets on the show. But anyway, Sharonda, you look good. Just change the lipstick. So Danny Glover, everybody. Now, he is one of my favorite actors, and I'm not even just saying that. Danny Glover has revealed that he's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Now, he says things are going to be different, and you know, he was in one of my favorite movies called Christmas Break-In, and I used to watch this movie every year. Christmas Break-In is basically like, I'm not even gonna spoil it, but it's a very good movie and I used to watch it every night, every day around Christmas time. But Danny Glover, it's just sad because, you know, like someone like that, he's been in the acting career for so long, and then to think about him just not remembering him in a movie. And then what bothers me the most is imagine his family watching a movie with him and they say, there you go. He's like, that's not me. You know what I mean? So Mario Lopez is making headlines after his former Extra co-host Tarika Ray publicly claimed that he supports MAGA. Now this comes after Mario responded to rumors by saying he didn't care about politics. Now Tanika says that's not the whole story, but people have been digging up old interviews, social media follows, and photos with Dana White. Now, come on now. There were signs that, you know, he was MAGA. You can look at him and see that he's MAGA. And I feel like it's always the people that you don't expect to be MAGA, and then you go on their social media and you see a post. I'm like, oh, wow, you know. But, Taylor Swift, no. Who is that? Taylor. I don't know what that story is, but anyways, EJ King and Klay Thompson, I don't know what they are, but they were out the other day. They had pictures. People were paparazziing them and everything. But anyways, I think Megan was just the cover for Klay Thompson anyways. You know, EJ King was spotted hanging out with Klay Thompson the other day at Michael Rubin's white party in the Hamptons. Here they are, they're talking and stuff, and I'm like, Klay Thompson has always been as gay as they come, you know, but Megan and him made a very cute couple, in my opinion. I'm just saying. Anyways, moving on to your stupid president. Donald Trump has people talking after posting an AI video of himself as a doctor treating celebrities with what they call Trump derangement syndrome. And this is what y'all voted for. Take a look.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with TDS? The symptoms can be relentless. Fortunately, I'm Dr. Trump, and I have a treatment plan. Let's hear what some of my patients have to say.
I have been suffering for over a decade. And after listening to Dr. Trump, I can see some results.
That's what you voted for. That's what you voted for. I'm not even, you know what? Anyways, we've spilled the juice. Now it's time for today's conversation. Up next is Kobe Lage, and he's gonna join me to talk confidence, purpose, relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself. Don't move, we'll be right back.
Spill the tea, and let the truth unfold. It's the Darius Owens Show.
All right, so I'm back with Kobe Lage, and Kobe Lage coaches men for a living and everything else. So hi, Kobe, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Darius?
Good. Now, you know this has been a long time coming. You know, we've been talking for months about this.
Yes, we have been. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Now, I have to just go ahead and get into it. Now, you coach men for a living, right?
Yes.
So what's the biggest lie that every young man believes about becoming successful as a man?
I think so. Now, I think that this naturally progresses as you get older. You start to realize it more. Some guys don't realize it until late, once they reach your 30s or 40s. But a lot of young men think that success is almost like this. There's an endpoint. Like they see this idea on Instagram. Oh, there's the guy living in a penthouse in Miami, whatever. Once I reach that point, I'm successful.
Right.
Or even like a family, right? Oh, that guy has an amazing family. Once you reach that point, you're successful. It's done. But it is a continuum. Success is not an end point. It is a constant pursuit. It is a constant state of being. Mm-hmm. And the truly successful man is somebody who can constantly be living in that state of purpose fulfillment. And that's what success is. But a lot of guys are like, this is it, this is it, this is it. And that always ends up leading to a lack of fulfillment because they think just a little bit more and I'll get there. Just a little bit more and I'll get there. They never reach that point.
Now, speaking of men, you know, thinking of things working out and things not working out, what is one of the decisions that you have personally made that has changed your entire life?
I would say the biggest decision that I've made in the last like 4 or 5 years was getting out of my home state.
Right.
And that was me going to university, you know, across the US. So I'm from South Dakota. I went to university out in Phoenix, Grand Canyon University. And my first year of college, I was like, all right, I'm just going to the hour away, like local spot, South Dakota State University, not far from home. And I just hated it. And I was like, you know what? I was pushed to a point and I was really uncomfortable and it was pretty scary for me, especially being from South Dakota. You know, we don't even have 1 million people in the state.
Exactly.
So people don't leave much. They stick around. It's that small place vibes. And I pulled the trigger and I met amazing people. I was exposed to new environments. You know, I was living in a space, a big city that I was not used to at all. And the reason that was such a big decision and created so much change for me is because I found parts of myself that I was unable to find in the environment that I was so used to. So that's what I would say is the biggest decision for me, is just pulling that trigger from there. Everything is just snowballed. And I've had the opportunity, you know, with work and different things to travel across the US. You know, I've been to over 30 different states in the last 2 years, just seeing new people, seeing new places, and stepping deeper into myself.
Now, speaking of that, you're seeing new people, seeing new places. If I followed you around for 1 week, what would I experience?
Yeah. So, my day-to-day is it changes a lot. All right. Really flexible. So I'm not really the kind of guy who's like, you wake up at 6 a.m. All right. You do this, you do that, and you start work at 8 a.m. and blah, 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 blah. And 12 o'clock, like my days are very inconsistent. So what you're going to find is I'm on a day-to-day, you know, I'm coaching guys, I have clients. So I'm a men's coach. So I have sessions. I'm constantly researching, always improving. There's always new information coming out. Although a lot of the philosophy and psychology that I teach is very, you know, ancient. It's been around for a really long time. But constantly just updating myself, learning more. You know, I'm an active guy, so I'm intentional about getting to the gym, getting out and moving, playing basketball. That's super important. Physical and mental health go hand in hand. So I'm doing that. I absolutely love traveling around, getting to see new places and people. Just last night, I came back from Calgary in Canada. I was out there for a few days. just exploring that place. So day to day, it's my surprise to some people, but I'm not like a wake up at 6 a.m. and grind kind of guy. And I don't necessarily think that's not in alignment with who I am right now.
Exactly.
I'm working from a free flowing state. Maybe one day I will. For some guys, that's what they need. Just that 6 a.m. wake up time and just immediately hit it and grind. But I love having a flexible schedule. I love being able to adjust and just move with the energy of things.
Now, obviously, you're getting around, you're doing stuff, you're being active. And, you know, a lot of men, mental health is like a big issue nowadays. A lot of people are depressed. They don't want to do stuff. So personally, have you ever had an experience in your life where you just felt down, and what did it teach you?
Yeah. So actually, maybe surprisingly, when I got out of my home state, like I said, and I went to Phoenix for school, that first year, I was almost so excited to be out and trying new things that I overcommitted myself.
Right.
So I was, getting involved with all these clubs. I was getting involved with all these volunteer organizations. I was just constantly doing work. And, if you looked at me from the outside, you'd be like, whoa, that guy's doing a lot of things, like vice president of the sociology club, like volunteering with foster care ministries, volunteering with the local immigration industries, things like that. And I was involved, but on the inside, I felt like I was just moving so much that I could never slow down and enjoy myself. And that was a big purpose in the first place of going to Phoenix, is to get out. I'm young, explore new things. And so I would say that was a time where I was almost in a bit of a depressed state. I'm not big into saying like, oh, I had depression, right? I never went to a doctor, wasn't interested in a diagnosis. I'm generally not, but in a bit of a depressed state. And what actually happened for me was I went on a spring break trip with some buddies, and for 10 days, we were just driving, flowing, like no plans, nothing. I was just experiencing life. We're driving through California, LA, San Francisco, all these awesome places. And that's when a shift happened for me, where it was like, okay, there is a time for work. There's a time for toil. There's a time for work. There's a time for the grind. But if that is not in combination with appreciating life, free flowing, enjoying things, and just being in the moment without having any expectation, you're going to wear yourself down. You're going to lose your joy for life. And you might be successful on the outside, but at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, when you wake up in the morning, are you feeling joyful?
Right.
Are you feeling purposeful? Are you loving what you're doing? And so that was eye-opening for me. And I love I'm actually so thankful that I had that experience, because now with my coaching, I can relate to guys, who have felt like, I want to be successful, but I'm on this grind. It's just not in alignment with who I am. And so that's what I do is I work with guys to make sure we get them in alignment with that purpose, not just with always being busy.
Now, Kobe, obviously you're smiling. A lot of guys aren't smiling though. So do you have any like negative thoughts that you're still dealing with on a day-to-day?
Yes, for sure. And, that's the thing, is that it's kind of like the idea of success I was talking about earlier, that there's an end point. You can work on yourself 8 hours of the day, right? Just in thought, in prayer, in meditation, whatever. That's not a very healthy way to live, but you could do that and you're still going to come out with negative thoughts, some habits that you don't like, a lack of consistency. So there is no point that you reach where it's like, I'm perfect. I'm good now. I'm awesome. And so I would say for me, with some of those negative thoughts, a big one would be the what if. Right. When I do make a decision, especially when I like to make decisions that I'm uncomfortable with, that I'm unfamiliar with, it's not so much a what if I mess up, it's what if the uncontrollable happens. What if something beyond my reach? And especially when you're dealing with new things, right? When I'm trying new things, It becomes what if like that interaction with this new person, right? What if they're this way? Or what if there's a technical difficulty? Or what if there's a delay on the flight if I'm heading somewhere? Whatever it might be, it's that out of control. And what I do to combat that is it's not to rationalize it, it's to accept it. And as it turns out, a lot of the internal negative dialogue that happens is when we are in resistance to what is happening. And so the way that I combat that is, okay, if that happens, that's okay.
Exactly.
It's acceptance. It's acceptance. And a lot of guys get so caught up in the emotional experience and the negative thought. They try to address it. They try to fix it. They try to combat it. But the true, like the true state of free flow is as minimal of resistance as possible. And so when you can let that thought, let that emotion come through, and then let it flow out the other side, that's where that happiness can come in. Right. So that your head's not filled with these negative thoughts that you're giving attention to.
Now you've lived, obviously. So for the 18-year-olds and the teenage men coming up, you know, we're all stupid. We all do stupid things. So if you could speak with those folks for 5 minutes, what would you tell them?
Well, first off, you're going to keep doing stupid things, and that's all right. And then second off, or maybe first off, purpose. Pursue purpose. Because what happens when you pursue purpose, right? When you are pursuing your creator, when you are pursuing that which you're aligned with, when you're pursuing the things that light you up, there is inevitably going to be results.
Right.
So you don't chase the results, right? You don't chase the money or the position and the job or the whatever it might be. You chase that purpose, what you are most aligned with. And again, there is no endpoint for that.
Exactly.
There is no I've done it moment. And the best way that you can do that, and this is what I say to a lot of young guys who are not sure, you know, what is my purpose? Oh, chase my purpose. I don't even know what that is. Just go do anything. So many dudes will just sit on their phone on reels because they're so like, I don't know what to do. Just do something.
Exactly.
You know, go hang out with your friends. Go to a new place. If you're in college, I would absolutely encourage you to just, what does your college offer?
Right.
What clubs are there? What events are there? You know, maybe there's a young adult night at a church nearby, something like that. Just go do things. And by doing things, you learn who you are, right? It's always a process. It's always a development. There's no end point, again, like we've been talking about. Just go and see what lights you up if you don't know, and see what doesn't light you up. You know, because you're going to do things that you go to or you do, and you're like, wow, that energy, that sucked the energy from me. I did not like those people, right? Or that thing that we were doing there. I don't ever want to do that again.
Right.
And that's okay. You know, that's part of the experience of life, is just go do it and find that purpose, and then just pursue it with all of your heart. And that's what produces peace. That's what produces joy. And that's what living in that state of success is.
Now, for the men that are stuck on their phones, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of that stuff, obviously social media tells men a bunch of lies. So what do you think something society has told these men that they believe but really isn't true?
I would say one of the biggest things that's pushed out there is that money is the pursuit and not the product. So there's a lot of guys, and I know guys, you know, some dudes are, you know what? I'm gonna use this example. Some dudes are meant to be just blue collar workers. That's awesome. If that's what you use your hands, that's awesome. You're good with them, and that's what you love to do. Go and do it. But you know, I know people who have, and maybe part of it you can't really blame it on them because they come from, you know, poor backgrounds, or they're not used to having a positive mentality towards money. But they get into these jobs because, oh, I'm making $70,000 a year off the get-go.
Exactly.
Awesome, right? And over time, you realize that there's not a lot of growth in that, or even if there is, they're not doing something that they enjoy, or maybe they skipped out on college because it costs money. Now, I'm not necessarily an advocate of everybody needs to go to college, by no means at all. That's not my perspective. But if you are acting out of a fear of money because you are afraid that you won't get enough, and so you're like, oh, I see all these people on my Instagram and social media who are living in these big houses, who are making all this money, because that's what you see, right? You see the top 1%.
And that's the problem with most of us.
That's changing a little bit now. Yeah, it's changing a little bit now, right? Instagram's a little bit more relational, but you're still, the majority of your videos, man, you're seeing people going to these places that you've never been. You're seeing people do these crazy things that you can't afford, or you're too afraid to do, and you're like, if I just had more money. But what the truth is with acquisition of money is that when you are doing that thing that you are purposeful in, and you are doing it with 100% capacity, so 100% of your ability, money will come. And you have to trust that. And it might not be now, and it might not be in 3 years or 5. But when you are relentlessly pursuing that which lights you up, you will inevitably receive the fruit of that labor.
Exactly.
And that takes patience. That takes patience. And not a lot of guys have patience, especially when you can scroll, and you get bored and you just scroll and there's the next video.
Sometimes I personally have to just turn off my phone and go outside and just do something.
Me too, man. Everybody. It's crazy.
Because once you get on Instagram or something, you're stuck for 2 or 3 hours.
Right. That's the trap, man. And what do you do? And you're just looking at people that are more successful than you. That's all you're doing is scrolling through them. So, yeah, it's skipping that first step. Maybe it's not even money. For some people, maybe it's just this idea of economic freedom.
Right.
Or maybe for some people, it's that perfect family. It's that perfect relationship with God. It's that perfect friend group, whatever it is. It's striving after result or striving after products as opposed to the pursuit. You have to trust that the pursuit will produce the product.
Now, I know you've given a lot of men advice and stuff, and half of them probably don't listen to you. So have you had any people you've given advice to come back and say, yeah, Kobe, you're right?
So really interesting. I would not actually say, because of the way that I do my coaching, I would not actually say that I have many guys who straight up disagree with me, go off, and then do their own thing, and then come back and say you were right.
Right.
The way that I orient my coaching is I bring things out in the people that I coach, and I help align them with their purpose. So a lot of the things that I am coaching are actually very already integrated with the people that I'm coaching. They just don't realize it yet. So I bring a lot of that out. But what I would more so say is that there are certainly times where giving advice to guys, or we coach the session, I'm like, hey, try this out. And they just don't really implement it. Maybe that's because they disagree, or maybe it's just because they didn't have the commitment to it, whatever it might be. And then they come back, and then I have another coaching session with them, and then they go off. And, after a couple sessions, finally they're like, okay, I guess I'll try it out. And then suddenly they come back, they're like, whoa, I've never done that before. And it seems so simple, and it works, because so often these solutions to these complex problems are really basic. I'll give an example. I had a guy that I was working with, and he was always listening to music. I always had to have his headphones in. And he was like, I just don't know what the solution is.
Right.
And I talked him through it, and I was like, hey, when you walk between your classes, right? He was a college student. When you walk between your classes, just leave the headphones at home. Right? And at first, he's like,
bad habit.
I don't know. Right, bad habit. But you know what? Once he started doing that, suddenly he was able to have this internal dialogue that he was pushing off. And these things that he hadn't addressed started coming up. And he was able to be a little bit more present, be a little bit more, in alignment with himself. And he recognized those results after a few weeks. Immediately it was more so like, yeah, I'm doing this, right? I know that's what you said, so I'm doing it. But then, boom, he realized it as something as simple as that, just putting the headphones down in between classes. Suddenly he's more aligned with himself.
And speaking of bad habits and stuff, a lot of men have all of these habits that ruin their confidence. So what do you think one of the main habits is? Personally, I think it's the smoking and vaping and all of that.
Mm-hmm. So I definitely think that those are, if you're constantly using drugs, whatever it might be, nicotine, smoking, alcohol, whatever it is, if you're constantly using that to mask, or if you're constantly using that as your only form of enjoyment, one thing is that's a dependency that really is not healthy on your body, on your mind, on anything. What was that?
Do you smoke?
No.
No, okay.
Every once in a while, right? If I'm hanging out with my buddies.
Right.
But when I say every once in a while, I mean like maybe once or twice a month, right? And I'm very intentional about being in a space where I'm not, I feel safe. I'm in a good headspace. everything like that, so that it's never used as a solution. It's never used as a constant part of who I am by any means. But beyond that, I would even say that the biggest deterrent to men's just confidence is seeking the approval of others. And a lot of guys don't even realize that they're doing it. You know, it's little things. It's saying sorry when they're not. You know, it's intent, like going out of their way to make somebody feel good.
Exactly.
When they don't deserve that. And it's those little things that sometimes guys don't even view it as part of confidence. As a confidence thing, they're just like, oh, I'm just being nice.
Right.
But true kindness comes from a space of genuinity. It's when I am so confident and comfortable in who I am that I have the capacity to give back, as opposed to I need other people to like me so that I can feel loved, so that I can feel confident. And a lot of guys are subconsciously operating from that position of pleasing people, and they don't even realize it. And I would say that that is the biggest thing. And so for men for anybody, it would be a good idea to just, okay, when I'm interacting with people, pay attention. Next time you're talking to a friend or coworker or whoever it might be, somebody in your class, when I'm interacting with them, do I feel the need to please them? Do I feel the need to be a certain way around them? Or do I feel the need for their approval? When I say something I disagree with, do I feel really uncomfortable? And am I able to sit in that uncomfortability? And a lot of guys, once they just start paying attention to that, they recognize things in themselves that they didn't see before because they just weren't paying attention. Maybe that's just how they were raised, or that's how they've always been.
And half
So,
the problem
I
with
would say
a lot of
that's
these people are the way they were raised.
Yes. Yep. That's it. It's a lot of rewiring from the, you know, whether it's family or it's culture, the community that they grew up in, whatever it might be. A lot of who we are at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old is because what happened when we were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. And it's crazy.
Now, Kobe, obviously your coaching with men has worked out for you in a very good way. So when did you realize this was really your calling and your thing that you were going to do?
Yes. So I would say that I first really recognized that. So I've always loved, like when I was a kid, too, you know, middle school, high school, I always loved being that guy that my friends would come to for support. And they did. They came to me. And they would ask me, you know, Kobe, you know, break up, whatever it is. I'm going through this struggle, this difficulty. And I always loved being there to help them out. But I would actually say there's this one point, there's this one moment that I can reflect back on where I was talking to my buddy. You know, I was in high school. I think I was probably 15, 16 years old. It was after our youth group that we had, and we were sitting in the car and just talking to each other. And I think we sat there for an hour and a half. Wow. I don't even remember what it was about, but he was basically seeking support from me. And I recognized something, which is that it was like 10 o'clock at night, right? Should be starting to get tired. When he left and I started driving away, I had this adrenaline in my body to where I should have, like most people, that like hour and a half long conversation, that was kind of draining, right? Like, okay, I love that I was there for my friend, but I need to go to bed.
Exactly.
I was in go mode. I was like, let's keep going. Who's next? What's next? I literally remember that my teeth started to chatter because of the adrenaline that I had from that. And, you know, I was a kid too, so I was like, oh, I amped up. I don't even know what was up. I don't usually get the teeth chattering anymore, but I played football at the time as well. And I would say that the adrenaline and the energy of the experience of just literally being there, supporting my buddy, was equivalent to getting a sack on the quarterback.
Right.
Like when I would stand up and, you know, just flows through you. And it's the same thing, which is kind of crazy for people to hear, because it's like, oh, I don't really like just like sitting and talking makes you feel that way. But it does, because it lights me up. It gives me energy. And that's it. When you find something that gives you energy, that's how you know, oh, I need to see what's up. I need to start pursuing this and then see what happens.
See, I get like that
That's what I
on
realized
Friday
is
nights and stuff.
A long time ago.
On Friday nights, that's how I get. I don't know why, but Monday through Thursday, just slow. Friday night comes, I'm ready to go.
That's it. That's what lights you up.
Well, that was Kobe Lage, everybody. You can find him on Instagram. And what are your other socials?
The best place to find me is going to be Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, Kobe Loggy. I on TikTok, but I don't post a whole lot on there. Instagram is a lot more relational to me. So I like being able to have that relational aspect, but that's going to be the best place to find me.
Perfect. And we'll be right back. Don't go far. More laughs, more conversations, and more moments you won't want to miss.
No,
I did.
don't
I
lie.
learned from you.
Don't lie.
Guess what? I'll be right back. You know, I'm not used to having straight hair. Well, anyways, it's time for Can We Talk About It? Well, can we talk about why everybody suddenly has a podcast? A podcast is not for everything, okay? I don't understand why people have podcasts about making underwear and using this certain type of toothbrush. And like, a podcast is not for everything. And by the way, this is not a podcast. If this was a podcast, you wouldn't be able to see me. All you would see is the mouth thing moving like this. Anyways, yeah, we'll be right back. Don't go far.
Spill the tea, and let the truth unfold. It's the Darius Owens Show. Spill the tea, and let the truth unfold. It's the Darius Owens.
And that'll do it for today. If I offended you, of course I'll do it next time. But let me know what y'all think about the straight hair. Like, I like the straight hair, you know, it makes me look different, you know? Like the last outfit that I had on Monday, it wouldn't have went with that outfit. Like, straight hair does not fit every outfit. The outfit I had on Monday had my, you know, I had my my curly short wig on. But the straight hair goes with this outfit. Like, the curly one would have went with it, but I like this straight. So if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, but that was so disrespectful. I'm sorry. But I'll see you next time on the Darius Owens Show. Have a great weekend. Bye.